Cook Annie had just managed to glaze the last piece of apple pie when she noticed through the window the wrought iron gates of the mansion slowly opening to allow a gleaming black SUV to enter. The vehicle made its way down the gravel path lined with trimmed bushes and flower beds. "Oh, the master's back," she muttered, adjusting the scarf on her head. Her assistant, the young and energetic Katie, immediately jumped to the window. "So early. They must be up to something again. Maybe he'll want something special for dinner." "That would be nice," Annie agreed, since the pie turned out particularly well today. But Katie suddenly shrieked, "Oh look, who's with him?" From the car, as soon as the master opened the back door, emerged a thin girl of about 10. Against the backdrop of Thomas Williams' formal coat, the child looked very small. Katie frowned. In the 2 years she had worked at this luxurious home, she had never seen any children there besides Thomas's son, Sam. "Maybe she's a relative or a friend of Sam's," she suggested, looking at Annie. "What relatives? I know all of them, and they don't have children of that age. And besides, you know Sam hardly ever has friends over." Katie nodded silently, feeling a strange sense of unease growing inside her. Meanwhile, in the yard, Thomas bent down to the girl. His voice was quiet but clear. "Well, Lisa, what do you think of the house? A real castle, right?" The girl shyly examined the tall, pointed towers and skillfully carved weather vanes. The mansion did indeed resemble a medieval castle, as if it had stepped out of a fairy tale. But the expression on the homeowner's face was far from fairy tale-like, stern and slightly tense. This house was not built for beauty. Thomas had constructed it for his son, trying to compensate for the heavy tragedy their family had experienced several years ago. 4 years ago, when Sam was only 7, burglars broke into their old house. Thomas wasn't there at the time. He was on a business trip, and the security, which later became round the clock, hadn't been hired yet. Sam was at home with his mother. His wife managed to hide the boy in the closet, saving his life, but she herself could not escape. The burglars demanded money, beat her, and the sound of her scream still echoed in the boy's memory. Through the narrow crack of the closet door, Sam saw how they swept away all the valuables, how his mother collapsed to the floor and did not get back up again. That scene stole his childhood. Since then, he had withdrawn into himself, stopped walking and even speaking. Medical examinations revealed no physical causes, only severe shock. Thomas quickly found the culprits thanks to his connections. He decided not to trust the case to the investigation and dealt with them in his way. But even revenge did not ease the pain. He lost his wife, and his bond with his son, who was his only support, grew thinner. Every venture back into his comfort zone seemed impossible to Sam. Despite the efforts of the best doctors and psychologists working with him, both abroad and at home, the boy still moved around in a wheelchair. Today was his birthday, 12 years old. Thomas had spent a long time racking his brain over how to make his son happy, since neither toys, gadgets, nor expensive trips brought him joy. In the morning, he gave him some rare books through his bookseller, but there was no joy in Sam's eyes. "Dad, I'm already 12, he said quietly. "I'll never walk, will I?" "Don't say that," Thomas knelt in front of him. "I will find a way. We'll try another course of treatment." "Nothing will help anymore." Sam turned away to the window and the conversation ended. His father left the room feeling depressed. Seeing his son fade was unbearable. And then an idea struck him. The day before, Thomas had seen the girl on the street near his office. Thin in an old coat, she was singing a song about her mom. Her voice was pure and touching, and a small box for coins stood beside her. He had noticed her for several consecutive days. She was too young to face such a life challenge, but something about her struck him. Thomas stopped to talk to her. "What's your name?" "Lisa," she said, looking at him with big green eyes. "Where's your mom?" "She lives nearby," the girl replied. "And your dad?" "I don't have one." The rest of the conversation was short. Thomas offered to take her to his house to help him, saying he had a son who could use some company. Lisa immediately called her mum and asked permission, if she could go. Lisa's mother initially did not understand where her daughter was going, but after speaking with Thomas, learning the address, his passport details, and the request itself, she decided to let Lisa go, especially since Thomas said it was just until the evening. First, Thomas took Lisa to a store and bought her new clothes, and the girl quickly became more talkative. "You can meet my son," he said, leading her into Sam's room. Sam was sitting by the window, looking out at the wet garden path where dewdrops glittered under the rare autumn sun. The boy's thin fingers lay on the armrests of the wheelchair, slightly twitching. It was his means of coping with anxiety. For a long time, he had become accustomed to feeling cut off from the world. The sound of the door opening made him turn his head. His father stood at the doorway beside a girl. Her big eyes studied the room with curiosity, but without fear. "Sam, this is Lisa," Thomas announced, stepping inside. His voice was confident, but a hint of tension lay beneath. "Lisa, this is my son." The boy nodded, examining her cautiously. Strangers scared him, but this girl didn't seem dangerous. In her hands was an old soft toy, a ragged plush bear that seemed to have survived several hard days with her. "Hi," Lisa unexpectedly said cheerfully, pressing her lips into a slight smile. Sam stayed silent, glancing down as if embarrassed by her presence. Thomas squeezed his son's shoulder, urging him to look at the girl. "Lisa will be staying with us for a while. She's special. I think you'll enjoy talking to her." Sam shot his father a quick glance, full of distrust, and then turned away again. "I don't need friends," he said softly. Thomas frowned. He wanted to say something more, but thought better of it. Instead, he leaned towards Lisa and whispered, "Just stay with him. Talk. He'll like you, I'm sure." Once Thomas left, the room filled with an awkward silence. Lisa shifted from foot to foot, then, as if making an internal decision, approached the bookshelf. Her eyes scanned the spines until they stopped on a large volume. "You read encyclopedias?" she asked in surprise, pulling out the book. "Sometimes," Sam replied, trying not to look at her. Lisa came closer and sat on a poof beside his chair, opening the book. "Let's see. Wow, look, dinosaurs. They had such strange names. Triceratops. Or is it read differently?" Sam couldn't help but snort. "Triceratops," he quietly corrected, still avoiding her eyes. "Wow, you know about this stuff?" Lisa exclaimed, as if it were the most amazing discovery. This time Sam smirked a little. She continued flipping the pages, asking questions, and with every minute, the wall between them started to disappear, and by the end of the hour, their laughter resonated through the room. When Lisa was very small, her mother would often tell her bedtime stories. These stories were always magical, but invariably ended with the words, "Remember, Lizzie, everyone has their own strength. The important thing is to find it within yourself." These words became like a mantra for the girl. After her father's death, it was just her and her mom. Lisa tried to be strong. She saw how hard her mom worked, trying every day for their future. So one day, Lisa decided she could help too in her childlike way. She took an old box from the closet, filled it with toys that no longer played an important role in her life, and went out onto the street to help her mom with money. But people often left money when she sang, so she had an idea. When Thomas found her, she had just finished singing her favorite song about her mom, and passers-by began tossing coins into the box. Lisa smiled at him the way she knew how, honestly, but with a hint of caution. Adults often asked questions that irritated her, but this man seemed different. In the evening, Thomas watched as the children dined together. The maid, Nina, served dinner to them directly in the kids' room. This was Thomas's idea. He wanted Sam to feel more at ease. Lisa seemed to have settled in completely. She chatted about something, gesticulating phrases, but her voice was filled with life. When Lisa fell asleep in the guest room, Thomas quietly entered her bedroom and tucked her in. The girl looked so fragile, yet there was something remarkably strong about her presence. He suddenly caught himself thinking, maybe she could help his son. Later in the evening, Julia, Lisa's mother, arrived to pick her up, but the girl was already sound asleep, curled up under the soft blanket. Julia entered the room quietly, but didn't dare wake her. Exiting into the hall, she saw Thomas standing by the fireplace with a cup of tea in his hand. "Your home," she began, glancing around. "It's like something out of a fairy tale. I've never seen anything like it." Thomas merely shrugged. "I built it for my son, to make his life a little happier." This answer, filled with restrained pain, surprised her. She expected to see a cold, reserved man, but before her was someone striving to be the best father to his child. "If you want, stay the night," Thomas offered after a brief pause. "It's late to head back, and it seems Lisa isn't planning on going anywhere." Julia nodded shyly but didn't refuse. She was placed in a cozy guest room, and even in the silence, she couldn't shake off the feeling that behind the shiny facade of this home lay a deep wound. One she sensed in every glance from Thomas, and in the morning, after kissing her daughter, Julia left early for work. But later, something unexpected happened. The maid found Lisa's room empty. The bed was neatly made, and her belongings were in place, but the girl herself was gone. Sam's room was empty too. In a panic, Thomas searched the entire house. No one had seen the children leave. But on the lawn outside Sam's window, the grass was trampled. Inspecting the garden, he discovered that the gate to the forest park beyond the property was slightly open. "How could I have been such an idiot?" Thomas clenched his fists, engulfed in despair. He called the security and ordered a search of the surroundings. What if they're in trouble? What if Lisa was a mistake? These thoughts were a whirlwind in his mind. Thomas and the guards searched the vicinity, shouting the children's names. His mind raced through countless grim scenarios. Something might have happened. They could have gotten lost, or come across even more serious danger. Thomas's heart beat faster as he pushed through the thickets. They had been searching for almost 2 hours when Thomas heard something in the distance: laughter. He ran towards the sound and saw the children embarking on a small adventure along the path among the trees. Lisa was pushing Sam in his wheelchair, and they were both laughing, enjoying the morning sun playfully filtering through the leaves. "Sam, Lisa!" Thomas shouted in relief. Seeing him, Sam turned, his face lighting up with a genuine smile, the rare kind that Thomas hadn't seen in a long time. "Dad, look! We found an amazing clearing with flowers right in the woods. Lisa says the flowers here bring luck." The boy spoke the words with enthusiasm. Thomas approached closer. "You scared everyone. How did you get out?" Lisa looked at him with a conspiratorial smile. "We just wanted to see the forest," Sam suggested it. Sam suggested? Thomas was surprised. Seeing the connection formed between the children melted his heart. "Okay, just let us know next time." On their way back home, Thomas felt himself re-evaluating everything that was happening. Lisa turned out to be a truly wonderful child. She managed to awaken an interest in life within Sam, something that many adults had failed to do for years. And now, with a completely despondent Thomas, the little girl performed the impossible. When Sam and Lisa returned home, they were served a morning meal. Thomas sat with them, watching as the children discussed everything they'd seen in the forest. Sam's face glowed with joy. By evening, Thomas invited Julia for a serious talk. They met in his office. The atmosphere was calm, yet tension could be felt. "Julia," Thomas began, gathering his thoughts, "I want to thank you for allowing Lisa to stay with us. Your permission helped absolutely everyone, especially my son. He hadn't looked so happy in months." Julia settled into a chair, nodding modestly. "I'm also glad to know that Lisa was able to help. She often compensates because of tough times, and I'm happy she is able to bring joy to others as well." Thomas realized that the bond between the children was unique. "I would like to propose that Lisa visits us more often, as much as possible. I'm sure it would be beneficial for her and for Sam." Julia hesitated a bit, but realized that Thomas's proposal made sense. "I think Lisa would be happy. It's been a long time since she's seen such sincere friendship." Thus began the wonderful weeks when Lisa spent every day with them. Sam came alive before their eyes, gaining a new sense of purpose in life. Together, the children read books, used their imaginations, and embarked on mini adventures in the yard and the forest. Lisa brought her soothing magic to every moment. Several months passed. Sam grew stronger, and his condition noticeably improved. Against all predictions, the internal reserves found thanks to Lisa began to aid him in his treatment. Observing this positive dynamic, one of the doctors noted, "Healing often begins in the heart and mind, and the external follows." Thomas understood that he encountered something that many couldn't explain. True strength lay in simple human warmth, friendship, and support. Thus, they continued living on, together, supporting one another. True power was the kindness of humanity and the ability to support each other even in the darkest times. The lives of Thomas, Sam, and Lisa filled with light and hope. thanks to a tiny girl who, with her sincere heart and belief in miracles, knew how to find and share magic even in the darkest of days. Everything in this world changed with their shared hope for the best, proving that love and friendship can heal the deepest wounds and give a second wind in a seemingly hopeless situation. Did you enjoy this story? Share your thoughts in the comments and let us know which country you're watching this video from. Give it a thumbs up, share this story with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss a new story. See you tomorrow.